Good morning, guys. Chris coming at you. Hey, we're going to work on that pony roadster for the Forge of a Lifetime Division 2. 13 inches and 3/8 by 3/4. It is a left hind. The heel caulk's on the right hand side. We're going to be making it out of 13 inches of 3/8 by 3/4, which is the wrong section for this shoe. So we have to bump it way down. I'm going to show you how I do this shoe. Very similar to the side bone shoe. It's kind of unorthodox. I have a couple of moves that I do differently. One thing I don't do is I don't bump up the medial wedge. I do that because I build the wedge like a heel caulk. So you'll see how we do that. But the very first heat is going to be a long bump. What I'm trying to do with this bump is I want to get medial toe through the toe into the lateral branch. I want to put a lot of material into that lateral side and almost bring it up to 7/8. So you can see how I have a good half a heat. My coke fire's fighting me this morning, having a bad coke day. You ever woke up the next morning and thought what was pure Colombian grade A was cut with Ajax? It's kind of what's going on this morning. So once we have a good solid yellow heat, remember guys, you're going to be doing this in gas. So get it good and yellow. Don't come out early on this first bump. Get it yellow. Give it a little scrape. I'm not much of a brusher anymore. It's going to start off easy. Nice easy bump. I'm going to try to put about 2 inches into this whole thing. Taking the whole thing down. Going to bump it down. You see, I'm not hitting a lot. I'm hitting about 3 times. I'm hitting pretty hard like I mean it. Then I'm going right back into straightening. Really, all I'm doing is putting a lot of money in the bank. Now, I'm going to take a quick measurement and see where we're at. I'm gonna guess just after those 9 or 10 solid hits that we're going to be 1, 2, 3. We'll be pretty close to 12 inches. That's one bump, and we are already at 11 3/4. So now what I want to do, I'm going to bump it again, but I'm only going to take a heat from here to here. We're going to quench this off. We help to localize it. Flip it. Quench off the other side. We're going to go right back into the fire, and we're going to get a nice heat in the middle. Try not to burn up. So 13 inches is too much steel for a 3/8 by 3/4 roadster. So you got to take it down to almost 11 inches. And you got to factor for how much you're going to put in your heel caulk, how much you're going to put into your wedge, how much rundown are you going to do, how much set down are you going to do. A lot going on here. A lot of guys like to make their wedges by bumping them up. Because if you make a 3/4 wedge, in a traditional manner, it ends up too narrow for the horse to stand on. We're going to go ahead and finish out our bump. And I'm not trying to be real specific here. I'm just putting a lot of money in the bank. I'm going to try to get another inch just into this toe. Now I know I'm in coke and steel moves a lot easier in coke, but when you're in gas, especially at our competition, it's not going to matter because you've got preheats. You've got plenty of time to get it good and hot, and you've got 90 minutes to make this shoe in conjunction with a pair of straight bar shoes. Those bar shoes are only about 25-minute shoes. So you have plenty of time to take your time on this roadster shoe. So Okay, so now a roadster needs to have a thicker toe and a little bit wider toe. Traditionally, we are at 11 1/4. So only got a 1/2 inch into that. But, there we go, there's 11 inches. We've taken this entire piece of section down 2 inches from the medial toe the whole way through the lateral branch. Now we're going to thicken it up. So we know our heel caulk is going to be over here. I'm going to take the round side of my hammer and I'm going to run through my toe. And this is blowing that toe out so it's thicker. You guys can see that all those hammer marks on there. The toe is significantly thicker now. Now we're going to come over here, and on the angle, I'm going to seat out the inside of my toe. This is creating that same wedge effect that roadsters have. Make no mistake, a roadster is not supposed to be a wedge shoe. They are supposed to have thicker toes. Okay, so there's our outside, here's our inside. What I'm going to do now, since I'm still not really committed to a toe bend, I'm going to do a heel caulk. This is how I would do this in gas. Nothing would change. Since we bumped it up, we have enough material in our heel caulk to be able to move forward. But when I do a heel caulk with 3/8 3/4, I don't just bend it up and pack it down. I bend it up and I put a backward S on it. And I strike here. And as the steel comes down, the heel caulk gets bigger and stronger than what it would normally be if you just had a 3/8 by 3/4 heel caulk. I expect to take about 2 heats on this heel caulk. And the reason why I'm doing this now instead of the wedge is so I can hold the bar stock at the other end. All we're going to do is find a soft spot to bend it over. Trying to make sure to bend it over square. That's a pretty simple blacksmith move. Now come right here and give it a kink backwards. And then you can immediately strike that. It's going to start just driving material into that heel caulk. Take your time, build a square. Your heel caulk is going to follow your hammer handle, the same as a clip does. So if you don't want a wonky heel caulk that's going one way or the other, steer it with your hammer handle. So if you see it needs to come over here, hold your tongs on a 45 and hit like that. And that heel caulk will follow your hammer handle. Just go nice and easy. But see, I'm not really trying to put anything crazy on this heel caulk. I'm just making a block. Just a nice block. Thicker at the top, a little smaller at the base. Some room to work with. So that's one heat with the heel caulk. I'd say the leading edge from the anvil to the top of the heel caulk is almost 1 inch. I do plan on taking it down. That's heat number 1. Now heat number 2 is going to be to turn the heel caulk. And there's a huge debate over coming on the anvil and twisting as you hit, or do you pick up and do you hit here and move like that? What do? All I'm going to do is put a heel check on the outside of the anvil face, or on the outside of the heel caulk, creating a gap. And then I'm going to come right here, square, and I'm going to hit the inside of the heel check. And that gap is going to rotate the heel caulk around. Take your time doing this. You got a whole heat to get this done. So I got my block, and I'm going to pinch one side in. I'm going to lay it on the anvil face. I'm going to hit over here and pinch the other side. And when I do that, the whole heel caulk is going to go like this. And then from there, you have to watch your tongue position to make sure your heel caulk always stays on the anvil face. But because we're hitting one side, we have to hit the front and the back. This is plenty hot. We'll give it one more quick little microwave heat. So we are going to hit all four sides, but we're only going to hit the outside first to create room for the inside heel check to fall off. This is heat number 2 of my heel caulk. I'm simply going to go like this. Hit some water and make. So now I've got it pinched off. Now I'm simply going to go right here and pinch the other side. Now because we've hit one side, we gotta hit the others. Hit the front, hit the back, set it down. Hit the back, a little more. So the best way to move your heel caulk around is to treat it like a clip. If you have one side longer than the other, you can draw the material out just like you would a clip. I'm going to put it on the anvil face, draw that down, lay this flat, turn my heel caulk, hit the front, hit the back. And we're going to look at it and we'll see which side's longer than the other. My inside's longer, I don't like that. So with drawing motions, I'm going to make the outside of the heel caulk a little bit longer. And it's hard to see on the anvil, but we're getting it turned. It's no longer perfectly perpendicular to the anvil face. We're going to take one last heat on the entire lateral branch. We're going to finish out the heel caulk, then we're going to draw down the section. And this is where I would go to the vise. I'm going to try not to do a rasping video. See if I can get the vise in there somewhere without moving it. I don't have a cameraman. So just talking and going slow, we're only about 12 minutes into this shoe. Make that wider. Remember to follow your hammer handle. There we go. Now I'm going to go right to the vise. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this sharp stuff. Hope you guys can see this. Drag this over here. I'm going to work on my heel check. And I'm going to immediately start boxing it. I gotta move this out just a little bit so I got some more room. It's my outside. I'm gonna start cutting in my boxing. I do all of this stuff now, so I don't have to fight the shape of the shoe later. Now we'll flip this over. We'll very, very carefully and gently bring our heel caulk. Get the top. else notice that these new green vices are lighter than the original batch? Biden Economics 101, right? Alrighty. So there's our finished out lateral branch. We're boxed, we're safe, we're edged up. Now what you can do to deceive the judge's eye is you can run the edges of your heel caulk very, very carefully. And you can draw lines that might not actually exist in your heel caulk. And on the table, just kind of gives it this little optical illusion that it's something that it's not. So I just went along and ran the edges. You can see the hammer marks because the one side of my heel caulk's longer than the other. There we go. Now we're going to jump right to the medial side, and we're going to build this wedge kind of the same way as the heel caulk. So when I build the wedge, I'm going to build it like a run-down heel caulk. And it's tricky because you have to be able to hold the heel caulk in line. And sometimes you need a pair of 1/2-inch tongs. If you have a pair of those old Pritchell tongs, those are phenomenal for making the wedge. Whoa, fire blowing up. If you don't have a pair of those tongs, you can suffer through it because we aren't really trying to get perfectly in line with the heel caulk or with the wedge. But I have a pair of those tongs, so I can cheat. Ah, these snap rings. Brian Osborne asked me what I can hold with these things. I say whatever the fuck I want. I'm just gonna run this down up on the anvil. This is the exact same steps that you would take to make a heel caulk, right? Pack this down. Now you're starting to get the material for your wedge. And what's great about doing it this way is that you don't get a cold shunt, Chris. You don't lose bearing surface for the horse to stand on. I'm setting that down. That's making my wedge taller. Set that down, and I'm going to use this side of my hammer, and I'm going to pull this like a clip. And I'm going to use this side of the hammer, I'm going to pull it just like a clip. Work the back. And in one heat, we've already roughed in a wedge. I'm going to take one more heat on that, develop a section, and then go to the vise one last time. I don't like having to bump up my wedge because then the lateral side of my heel caulk gets really weak. I prefer to build the wedge like a little heel caulk. It's stronger on the bumping. If you try to make it in the traditional roadster sense of making a wedge, it'll come up really weak. You either have to bump it or you have to make it like I just did. We'll run this section down, come to our wedge, taper it up so you're not rasping as much, set it down, draw it out, Get the front. Right there. I don't like how that's playing with me. Set our section down. Take 2 hits. That sends that home. Now we're going to try not to do a rasping video. We'll go to the vise. We'll drop shit on the floor. Rasping videos suck. Whenever you go to a clinic and there's always some douchebag that wants to see a roadster. The poor clinician has to freaking rasp his butt off. That's a great way to lose the crowd. When it comes to roadsters, I really do not like sharp wedges. I've nailed roadsters on horses and I've had to get calls. I've gotten calls where I have to go back and fix shit because there's a bloody horse. And it's all my fault because I nailed on a convention roadster. I don't know what you guys can see or can't see. So. And to get the bottom of the roadster, the wedge, I just put under here. Alrighty. So now, all of our jewelry is made. We have a bumped up toe. We have a pretty nice wedge. We got a pretty okay heel caulk. All I gotta do from here is figure out what my offset is and make a toe bend. So we ended up finished, done, sectioned out at 11 inches. 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. It's a small shoe. I'm gonna take it 3/8 of an inch offset. I'm just guessing. Our next heat is going to be toe bend. We'll start getting our branches set up. This is where I would normally go. Any questions so far? But it's a video, so that doesn't work. So yeah, you got 90 minutes to make this shoe and 2 plain stamp bar shoes. I would start with this shoe and 1 bar shoe. And then when the first bar shoe was done, get it in the vise, finish it up nicely. And then as soon as that was in the vise, put your second bar shoe in, make another bar shoe to match the first one, keep making your roadster. Whoa, pissed off fire. She's angry today, boys. She's an angry fire. I haven't cleaned this thing in like 8 months. We're just gonna get a nice heat. Heat is your friend. Water is your friend. Heat and water will control all of your bends. So if you have too much heat in your toe corner, don't put your toe bend in. Quench it off real quick. Do something to manipulate the heat. Alrighty. Just gonna crack your toe bend out real quick. Get them Democrats off of my roadster. Get out of there, Democrats. Fuck everything up. Note to self, clean fire. Alright, gonna make toe bend. Good enough. My tongs aren't fitting. I'm gonna drop down a section of tongs here in a minute. You can't make what you can't hold. Man, that's true. If you can't hold it, you can't make it. If your tongs look like this in your hand, and your hand's all cramping up, you ain't gonna make shit but arthritis. Man, fires, man. I don't like angry fires. They're uncontrollable. There's a big old clanker in the bottom of my forge. Alrighty. Bring that in. Bring that in. Push that toe up. Push that up. Ah. What I'm after is I want the end of my wedge to line up with the leading edge of my heel caulk. This is how I would lay out the entire roadster. I would totally disregard my center dot because it lied to me. So now I'm just going to square that up. These wide rasps are wonderful for squaring shoes up now. You really don't even need a T-square anymore because these rasps are so wide. Still have a lot of heat in my lateral branch. So I'm going to take the initiative right now and mark that in. And if you'll notice, I ran my full ring in front of my silver line. That's not by accident. The toe is so much thicker and so much wider that if you don't run that full ring up further than where you think it should go, you'll hurt the horse. So aside from the center dot, that's what I would want to see heading into this particular heat. Wedge done, caulk done, we're good to go. Wedge got crispy on me. I should do the next one like a cooking show where I have all 15 steps already prepped in order. Faster to watch. It's boring. Doing this heat, I'm going to crack my full ring the whole way through, get it ready to go. In the next heat, we'll do the medial side. Then we'll turn it, punch it, clip it, move on. That should have you at about the 90-minute mark. And then I'm going to clean my fire. This is embarrassing. When I full her into straight, I only go to about halfway. Leave it alone from there. Gather up whatever little bit of distortion I have. Spot right here. Give it a good brush. There we go. Make sure your section's really nice. Okay. That's what I expect in the second heat of my fullering. When we did classic, the guys were working on the hinds would measure before they would even trim their feet. The guys on the fronts would trim, and we would make our roadsters till we got to this point. And right about then, we could slide into the hind feet and keep working, and then the front feet guys took priority to the fire. It was a very, very effective system that saved us a lot of time. Because I'm still not committed to the size of the roadster. Even at this point, I can draw it down even further. So after Classic, this was pretty much the system that I developed for making roadsters, because it's just very, very efficient. It's a lot of back and forth, but it's very, very quick. Dirty fire. She's angry. So when I'm putting in that hard stop into my fuller, I'm throwing a little bit of English on my hammer, and I'm driving it in like a car wreck. Just slamming it in there, making it straight. And that's always the hard side to do if you're right-handed. The left side's easy because you can just drop your hand down. Man, that dirty fire is making a mess of my roaster today. Finish out our section. Somebody once told me that if you're making a roaster and it starts to feel really comfortable, you're doing something wrong and move on to the next step. Because you're about to overdo something. Alright, so now our medial branch is the hottest. We'll bend that. Punch and pritchel. Do the lateral. Punch and pritchel. Clip it. Call it a day. Everyone likes roasters until you learn how to make them. And they're not fun anymore. So when it comes to the medial branch, that wedge is hunter fit. So it wants to look like it's hanging. You don't want that wedge to come around really nice under the medial toe. All we're going to do, straighten up our toe. You go to a fat part of the horn. Just going to wrap this around and just make a nice little hunter fit heel. I'm not trying to be a superhero when it comes to fitting the medial side of the wedge. You can always tell judges that never put a roadster on a horse for a long period of time because their wedges are always ridiculous. Their shapes are always weird. Much like a side bone shoe, if a roadster fits a table, it's not going to fit a horse. It might look pretty on Facebook for a day or two, but it's going to look ugly in about a week when the horse is all bloody. Or even worse, when guys hang that lateral branch out like it's a damn lateral support shoe, and then you put the driving horse into a team, and that side weight you put on him cuts his buddy in the harness. That's real cute. That's worth 1,000 likes. Regarding pritcheling, man, send it, stop hitting it. If you hit it twice, that's why your pritchel gets stuck. Didn't belong in there. Alright, other side. Yeah, I learned the hard way about fitting up roadsters. And when you have a draft horse wearing 1/2 by 1 1/4 roadster, and he steps over on himself to be comfortable, and he goes, ha! And he steps back off of himself, you know your roadster's bad. You can't lean that wedge under a horse's foot hard enough. That's why all those Phoenix shoes are shaped the way they're shaped. Farmers got pissed off about having bloody horses' legs. Take my advice at Spy Coast next week and you'll come in last. Now with the roadster, I like to give it a little kickstart right here. Put that lateral heel quarter in. If we're already fullered, this is going to bend really, really easy. You don't have to force it. You know, the old farrier shops would just spend all day long making blanks with bumped up toes and heel caulks and wedges. And then when the horse came in to be shod, they didn't have to fit too much. They could just grab whatever they wanted, draw it down and fit it right up. There we go. That's what that needed. Punch it, maybe. Punch hard, mean it. We're only in 3 8 3/4, and we're 2/3 of the way through it. All you gotta do is get through 1/8 of an inch of steel. Not that hard. Punch through and mean it. Breaking my own rules. Now you're allowed to have one more heat. Give it a bump shut. We're going to clip it up. Now to save yourself the embarrassment, putting a clip on crooked, come out of your toenails and scribe, and you'll see my original center dot and my new center dot. Maybe. I don't throw shit across the shop floor again. This right here is my old dot, and that's my new dot. And you can see the scribe marks right there. Those represent the center off my toe. So far, just screwing around, we are 40 minutes into this. That's just doing a demo. I wish I had the editing app. I'd probably cut about 20 minutes of this thing out. So if you can make one shoe in 40 minutes, there's no reason why you can't make 2 shoes in 55 minutes, leaving you another 35 minutes to make the other bar shoe. Plenty of time. I'm going to try to clip the the opposite direction so you guys can see how I would clip this. There's that. Take my other hammer, find a spot, pull my clip. Now give her a good brush. Now before I ever flatten this, you know, if you're going to wreck a shoe at the end of the contest, when are you going to do it? You're going to do it right now when you're about to smash your clip down. Put your shoe where it belongs. Grab your rounding hammer and your clipping hammer. And save yourself some embarrassment. And do that. So pitch our clip over. Run the edges, etc., etc. Get her cleaned up here. That's just screwing around. It's kind of a longer video than what I had hoped for, but this is a longer shoe. That's why you get 90 minutes. Remember how I said water is your friend? We're going to put a bunch of water on the anvil face. We're going to wet down the brush. It's going to be a happy horseshoe. Nice red. Use that water to your benefit, man. Clean her up real pretty. That shock of cold really helps to get the slag out of there. Just brightens it up. You don't have to be a hog and go in with your water tub like this and come out with a bunch of water all over your hand. Nobody likes that guy. A couple little nuances I would change. I wouldn't offset quite as much. I would clean my forge, and I would fix my fuller. One last whack to get that heel caulk exactly where I want it. There we go. I know someone's going to say something about that mark. Get rid of it. Something like that. That's just a demo.